Netherlands, we live on a delta. Water is all around us. This can prove challenging for the water management authorities. We want to be protected from the water of the sea and the rivers. And we want drainage systems to remove rainwater properly so we can keep our feet dry. We want to ensure a good ecological quality of our surface waters and that there is a sufficient water supply. Climate change, intensifying land use, and the changing expectations of society provide the water authorities with an increasing challenge. A lot of knowledge is required in order to carry out the water authorities' duties adequately and efficiently. STOWA, the Foundation for Applied Water Research, helps the water authorities in the development and application of this knowledge and expertise. STOWA is the water innovator. STOWA carries out applied research for water management. STOWA belongs to and represents all of the water management authorities. The different water authorities, the provinces and the central government are all represented on the board. The work of STOWA is to oversee, discover, develop, make accessible, transfer. STOWA oversees the field of water management. We stay on top of developments in water management, science and society. We observe the coherence between the different aspects of water management. By overseeing the field of water management, we discover gaps in knowledge and the areas where bottlenecks arise. In consultation with all the water authorities, the different research topics are evaluated and rated in program committees. This way, the research agenda is determined together. Then the development of knowledge can begin. The research procedure is set up, usually with practical experiments in the field, for example in pilot sites, so that we can see if it works immediately. The golden triangle forms the heart of this development of knowledge. The practical experience of water authorities, the theoretical knowledge of scientists, and the business sense of the industry are factors that reinforce one another. This is how we achieve the best results. The next phase is making the acquired knowledge accessible. For this, STOWA makes use of a range of resources. STOWA reports meet high-quality standards, a reference that is detailed and to the point. We share a lot of information through our websites. Here one can download reports, view presentations, and find information about our upcoming events, as well as a lot of background information. We also provide water managers with practical models, in which technical knowledge is made more applicable.
Ik wil jullie allemaal dus hartelijk welkom heten hier in Wageningen. Op de campus.
After making accessible comes transferring.
Een heel belangrijk doel van vanmiddag is om kennis te delen, dus laten we dat vooral voorop zetten.
STOWA embeds knowledge and expertise deep in the different organizations. The ultimate aim is to apply the acquired knowledge.
Hartelijk welkom op het STOWA WIPE Waterharmonica Symposium.
We organize expert meetings that buzz with the sound of information exchange.
Ik wil dan ook echt met name focussen op zwevend stof en nutriënten.
We contribute to courses for water managers and work on communities of practices.
Onzekerheid uitgerekend.
STOWA is active in all fields of water management: flood prevention, water system management, urban water management, and water treatment. When all these different elements are combined, they reinforce one another. The entire water system is indeed codependent. A large part of our country lies below sea level. Strong flood defences keep us safe. To check whether the flood defences are functioning sufficiently, STOWA investigates the strength of dikes. Some dikes in the Netherlands are filled with technology. These so-called live dikes can be found, amongst others, in the provinces of Groningen and Utrecht. Sensors in the dikes measure the slightest movements and changes. This way, the flood defense manager can monitor the status of the dike closely, even under extreme conditions. This provides them with important information, allowing reinforcements to be carried out at specific locations. This saves costs while simultaneously guaranteeing the safety of those living in the hinterland. We, of course, need to have strong dikes. That's the first layer. With multi-layer security, we also look beyond the dike at the spatial planning of the hinterland. This is the second layer. We can, for example, build towns and neighborhoods in such a way that flooding has less impact. Although the chance is small, flooding is, even in the Netherlands, possible. By protecting vulnerable services, we can limit the potential risk and damage. For example, we can place transformer stations on high ground so that the power doesn't go out immediately when the area is flooded. The third layer is not a physical layer. It concerns crisis management, the setting up of crisis centers and the creation of evacuation plans. If we have a sequential understanding of where the water will flow in different phases of a flood, we can prioritize correctly in the first hours of a disaster. Together, we have developed an assessment framework for multi-layer security. The most cost-effective way of achieving this level of security has been calculated. Variables other than cost can also be taken into account in the framework. Together with the central government, a phased plan has been developed that shows how multi-layer security can be realized. Water management is important. Sufficient water, a good water level, for agriculture and for nature. And in the coastal area, the prevention of saltwater penetration is another factor. Water quality is also important. Clean, healthy water that is full of life. It is essential for us and for everything that grows and blossoms. This life in and around the water is closely but vulnerably interconnected. The ecological system. Knowledge of the coherence of this system is important for the proper management of quality and quantity. STOWA looks at the water system as a whole. As such, STOWA is doing research into stream restoration. How can we, by restoring meanders, extend the stream length so that this benefits the ecology? How can we make the stream passable for fish? Hydrological conditions are important, such as a water drainage with little or no extremes. Water retention and slow drainage are good for the ecology. This is also desirable from the perspective of water quantity. By allowing stream valleys to flood in a controlled manner, we replenish groundwater supplies and prevent flooding downstream. By doing this well, water authorities can also respond efficiently to the expected effects of climate change. STOWA gathers knowledge of groundwater flows and provides insight into how water is distributed over rivers, lakes, canals, and smaller water bodies. We summarize this data with models and mathematical formulas. Controlled drainage is one of the options that STOWA is elaborating. By adjusting the water level in the tube, water can be temporarily stored underneath a farmer's field. This system can be applied in a climate-adaptive manner if the farmer takes the weather forecast into account. When dry weather has been forecasted, the farmer raises the groundwater levels so water is buffered inside the field. This enables him to make it through the dry period. In times of heavy rain, the control mechanism can be engaged to limit peak drainage. In this way, controlled drainage prevents low-lying inhabited areas from being flooded. In polders, we are investigating what impact a more flexible water level management might have on the ecology and water quantity. The water level may fluctuate 20 centimeters in the pilot sites, with a higher level in the winter than in the summer. This is often the other way around. Flexible water level management can lead to ecological benefits, such as the expansion of vegetation along banks. areas become more self-sufficient, which is beneficial for the ecology, because less water from outside the area has to be supplied. Not having to pump water back and forth is also more cost-effective. To achieve ecological objectives, an understanding of ecological systems is essential. We have made a practical checklist. Does light reach the waterbed? What kinds of fish are present? Are there toxic substances present in the water? Concrete questions, which provide water managers with support for unraveling the most important processes and control factors. Thanks to this monitoring and control system, effective measures can be taken, and we also know which measures are not required. In the urban environment, the municipality and the water authorities work together on water management. STOWA helps them by assessing the opportunities and bottlenecks in the urban water chain. The objective? To create a climate-adaptive city. Also, cities face long, dry periods. The introduction of water and vegetation helps to keep the city cool. The city also has to be able to cope with periods of heavy rainfall. Together, we develop the knowledge required to deal with this dynamic. A practical book has been made on water in the city. In-depth questions surrounding climate knowledge are expanded upon in this book. In the research into water in the city, Earth observation and hydrology are combined. This gives us a precise picture of how water moves through the environment. This helps developers to guide water in the right direction. Having more above-ground measures means fewer, more expensive underground investments. For example, water can be stored on rooftops. In the Roof Lab research in Wageningen, we observe how much water can be stored and how this form of buffering contributes to the prevention of flooding. We also investigate the contribution of porous surfaces and gardens with respect to water retention. The water authorities treat our wastewater. This wastewater is made up of different substances. STOWA is researching the separation of wastewater flows at the source. For example, collecting urine and feces separately from other wastewater at hospitals, as this is the source of the greatest concentrations of medications. And we look at whether wastewater can be treated closer to the source, such as in Snake, where decentralization is being tested for one district. These days, wastewater is seen as fuel. Valuable substances such as phosphorus, nitrogen and cellulose are recovered. Energy can be created by adapting the techniques of wastewater treatment, in the form of biogas, for example. The water treatment plant thus becomes a raw materials and energy factory. The treated water is released into the surface water. In areas where it is especially important that the surface water is of good quality, it is sometimes necessary for the wastewater to undergo a further stage of treatment. STOWA does research into these additional stages of treatment. One such treatment is the water harmonica. This is a natural system of flow fields and reed beds. The water harmonica removes an amount of the last remaining pollutants. The treated wastewater takes on a new life, good for the quality of the water and good for the ecology. Understanding the system as a whole leads to the right decisions being made. Investment in research is a prerequisite for efficient and effective water management. The research findings garner international prestige and profit for Dutch companies. Because the knowledge and innovations have already been tried out in test beds, it can be shown what the effects and advantages are. Water managers therefore contribute to the economic position of the Netherlands. STOWA is prepared to invest in long-term research. As a result of this, we can often persevere with promising research beyond what appear to be dead ends. This has been the case with Nerida, the farmer filter, and a number of other discoveries. STOWA aims to serve. Together with water managers, we bring the work of water management to the next level. As an independent organisation, we are in the position to be critical. And we're not afraid to innovate. STOWA has been providing concrete knowledge to water authorities for more than 40 years. We move with the developments in the field of water management. The result is far-reaching practical knowledge. Knowledge that is applied on a daily basis. In this way, we help the water authorities to carry out their work adequately and in a cost-effective manner. Because in our low-lying and water-rich delta, good water management is a basic requirement for the smooth running of our everyday lives.